A good woman never breaks first because her strength was built in silence long before anybody ever noticed her. She learned to hold her world together even when life tried to pull it apart. She learned to stand 10 toes down when everything around her was shaky. Her heart is soft, but her spirit is made from something unshakable. She's not fragile, she's focused. She's not weak, she's wise. And that's why she doesn't break first. Breaking is easy, but holding yourself together when you're hurting takes a different kind of backbone. See, a good woman will carry pain the way some people carry purpose. She doesn't complain every time she feels disrespected. She doesn't fall apart at the first sign of trouble. She'll take the hit, breathe through it, and try to understand before she reacts. That's her gift and her curse. She's built like somebody who's been disappointed before, but still chooses to love anyway. She's been tested by life, but she refuses to let life turn her cold. She loves like she's never been hurt, even though she has, and that's what makes her rare. She handles storms quietly. She handles heartbreak privately. She'll try to talk things out before she gives up. She'll try to fix things even when she knows she didn't break them. She'll give a man time to grow, space to figure himself out, chances he probably didn't even earn. But she does all that because she believes in potential and loyalty more than pride. She doesn't give up easily, so when she does, trust me, it wasn't easy. A good woman never breaks first because she always tries to understand the WHY behind the pain. She's not quick to run. She's not quick to give up. She's not quick to throw away something she invested her heart into. She'll check herself before she checks anybody else. She'll ask, what can I do better? How can we fix this? She'll carry guilt that isn't hers. She'll apologize for things she had no part in. That's how deep her heart goes. She fights for the connection even when she's the only one swinging. But don't mistake her patience for weakness. Don't mistake her silence for surrender. Don't mistake her calm for acceptance. Every quiet woman is thinking louder than she speaks. Every patient woman is keeping score of the things you don't fix. Every loyal woman is praying for the strength to keep loving you, but also the strength to walk away if she has to. She doesn't break first because she's built herself too many times before. She knows how to pick up the pieces of her own spirit. She knows how to hold it down even when the world feels heavy. She knows how to smile while she's hurting and how to love while she's empty. She's trained for emotional warfare in ways a man might never understand. She survived heartbreak a long time before he ever met her. That's why she endures. That's why she lasts. But here's the part men never see coming. When she finally does break, she doesn't break like glass. She breaks like chains. She doesn't fall apart. She breaks free. She doesn't collapse. She walks away. She doesn't lose herself. She finds herself. And by the time she reaches that point, it's too late for the man who thought she'd always stay. Because a good woman will hold everything together until the moment she realizes she's holding things that aren't worth saving. And once she reaches that point, she doesn't break. She lets go, quietly, completely, permanently. A good woman never breaks first because she's strong enough to endure the pain, but smart enough to leave once the pain becomes the pattern. And when she leaves, she won't look back. She won't second guess. She won't be the same. Her heart shifts, her energy changes, her standards rise. She becomes the version of herself she needed all along. And the man who thought she'd never leave will realize one day that she didn't break first. She just stopped breaking for people who weren't built to handle her heart. When a man hurts a good woman, he loses his emotional blessing long before he realizes it. That's the part he never sees coming because he's too busy chasing distractions, playing with her patience, or taking her loyalty for granted. A good woman is a rare type of energy. She carries peace in her presence, clarity in her voice, and healing in the way she loves. She's not just someone you date, she's someone you grow with, someone who teaches you things about yourself you didn't even know needed fixing. She's a blessing you only receive when life thinks you're ready. But if you treat her like she's replaceable, life will teach you exactly what you lost. A good woman doesn't leave immediately. She stays longer than she should. She gives more than she gets. She tries harder than necessary. She forgives things that keep cutting her. She chooses love even when love isn't choosing her back the same way. And because she stays solid, the man gets comfortable. He assumes she'll always be there. He thinks she'll endure everything because she always has. He sees her heart as an unlimited resource. But that's the first mistake, assuming a good woman will never change her position. When you hurt her, it doesn't hit you right away. She still shows up. She still loves you. She still takes care of things around you. But something inside her starts to shift. Her spirit gets quieter. Her eyes stop lighting up the way they used to. Her effort becomes measured, intentional, cautious. She starts loving you differently, not out of revenge, but out of self-protection. Her energy becomes something you can feel, but not something you can understand. That's the beginning of losing her, even though she's still physically beside you. A man thinks the loss starts when she walks out the door, but the truth is, the loss begins the moment he hurts her, the moment he dismisses her feelings, breaks her trust, or makes her question her worth. That's when the blessing starts pulling back slowly, naturally, quietly, because the universe doesn't let a blessing stay where it's being mishandled. The blessing withdraws piece by piece, not because she wants to leave, but because she's realizing her heart can't grow in a place that keeps wounding it. And here's where karma comes in. A good woman pours love into a man that shapes him, builds him, inspires him. She makes him more stable emotionally. She gives him vision, motivation, confidence. She becomes his peace when his world is chaos. But once he hurts her deeply, that emotional support begins to fade. He doesn't feel grounded anymore. He doesn't feel understood. He doesn't feel the same calm he used to feel when she was around. He doesn't even recognize why life suddenly feels heavier. But it's simple. He lost a person who helped carry the weight. What hurts him later is the realization that no woman after her loves the same way. Other women might be attractive, fun, interesting, but they don't bring that spiritual nourishment she brought. They don't make him feel like home. They don't pour into him with intention. They don't see his potential the way she did. He starts comparing without even noticing he's doing it. He starts remembering her voice, her touch, her presence. He starts craving the stability she gave him naturally. But by the time he realizes all this, she's already evolving. She's healing, glowing, rediscovering herself. She's no longer waiting on him to step up, to change, to apologize. She's building her life without the weight of his mistakes sitting on her chest. And the wildest part, the happier she becomes without him, the more he feels the loss. Because a good woman isn't just a partner. She's an emotional blessing. She shifts the atmosphere. She lifts a man's spirit. She makes him better just by being who she is. Losing her isn't like losing any other relationship. It's losing alignment, peace, and direction all at once. And once he finally understands what he lost, he'll look back and realize the truth. He didn't lose her the day she walked away. He lost her the day he thought she'd never go anywhere. A good woman doesn't seek revenge because her spirit was never built from bitterness. Her heart isn't wired to destroy. It's wired to grow, to heal, to elevate. She's the type who understands that revenge is just another form of attachment. And she refuses to stay connected to someone who already hurt her. She's not trying to get even, she's trying to get free. And that's the difference between someone who moves with emotion and someone who moves with wisdom. See, When a good woman gets hurt, she feels it deeper than most people. She loved with intention. She trusted with her whole heart. She gave loyalty without hesitation. So the pain hits different. But even in her hurt, she won't lower herself to the level of the person who caused it. She's not going to play dirty. She's not going to try to break someone just because they broke her. She's too spiritually grounded for that. She knows who she is, and she knows what karma is. And karma, it doesn't miss. Revenge requires energy, heavy energy. It requires her to keep thinking about the person who betrayed her, to keep replaying the situation, to keep feeding negativity. A good woman doesn't give her power away like that. She's focused on rebuilding her peace, not ruining someone else's. She understands that time exposes people better than she ever could. She trusts that every action has a return, especially the ones done in darkness. Instead of revenge, she chooses distance. Instead of anger, she chooses clarity. Instead of chaos, she chooses growth. She's not trying to hurt him back. She's trying to put space between herself and the environment that caused her pain. That's her revenge, healing, becoming better, becoming stronger, becoming wiser, becoming everything she was meant to be without the weight of someone who didn't value her. A good woman knows that revenge might bring temporary satisfaction, but it won't bring long-term peace. It won't change the situation. It won't take back the disrespect. It won't restore her worth. So she chooses the path that benefits her future, not her ego. And while a man expects her to lash out, to explode, to crumble, she does the opposite. She becomes quiet. She becomes calm. She becomes strategic with her energy. And that silence is louder than any argument she could ever have. Because a good woman doesn't need to expose a man. He exposes himself the moment he loses her. The moment she stops calling, stops checking, stops caring, stops giving the love she once poured into him. That absence hits harder than any revenge she could plan. That emptiness teaches him more than her anger ever would. Life handles the rest. Life brings him lessons disguised as new relationships that don't treat him the way she did. Life brings him moments where he feels the loneliness he once made her feel. Life brings him clarity in the form of regret. Life brings him nights where he thinks about every mistake he made with her. Life brings him women who match his energy, not hers. And he learns the difference. And while life is teaching him, life is also lifting her. Her glow starts returning. Her smile comes back. Her energy gets lighter. She begins to attract better things, better people, better opportunities. She becomes more aligned with who she was meant to be. And the more she grows, the more he realizes she never needed revenge. She became the proof of what he lost. A good woman doesn't seek revenge because she knows revenge is for people who still want to stay connected to the pain. She's not trying to stay connected. She's trying to evolve. She's trying to move forward. She's trying to build a future where she doesn't have to look back at the person who hurt her. Her success is her revenge. Her peace is her revenge. Her evolution is her revenge. Her happiness is her revenge. And nothing hurts a man more than watching the woman he took for granted become everything he prayed for with someone else. That's why a good woman doesn't seek revenge. She lets life do what she doesn't need to. Hurting a loyal woman changes her energy forever because loyalty isn't something she gives halfway. When she loves, she pours her entire soul into it. Her trust, her time, her patience, her belief in you, her vision of what the two of you could be. So when that kind of woman gets hurt, it doesn't just bruise her heart, it rewires her spirit. It shifts the way she moves, the way she loves, the way she protects herself. A loyal woman is rare. She's the type who stands beside you when life is heavy, not just when things are smooth. She listens when you don't know how to speak. She supports when you don't know how to stand. She gives you grace when the world is taking from you. She covers you, uplifts you, prays for you, builds you. Her loyalty isn't conditional. It's rooted in the belief that love is worth fighting for. But that loyalty becomes her breaking point when it's mishandled. When a loyal woman gets hurt, something inside her changes permanently. The light in her eyes dims, the softness in her voice sharpens. Her heart gets wiser, more guarded. She starts learning lessons she never wanted to learn. Lessons about trust, lessons about boundaries, lessons about the difference between someone who deserves her loyalty and someone who only knows how to use it. She's not the same woman afterward. She can love again, yes. She can trust again, maybe. But she will never give herself in the same innocent, unconditional way she once did. She can rebuild her heart, but she can't erase the memory of what broke it. Because when someone disrespects a loyal woman, she stops offering her spirit freely. She stops assuming people have good intentions. She stops believing words without actions. She becomes more selective, more intentional, more disciplined with her energy. What she used to give without thinking, she now gives with caution. Not because she's bitter, but because she learned the cost of being too open with the wrong person. Hurt changes her atmosphere. It changes how she shows up. It changes who she allows near her. A loyal woman becomes a protector of her own peace, and once she steps into that role, she never steps back. She stops chasing explanations. She stops begging for clarity. She stops trying to fix people who break everything they touch. Her focus shifts from helping someone grow to protecting her heart from being damaged again. And the man who caused the pain, he never expects the transformation. He thinks her loyalty will keep her stuck. He thinks she'll always come back because she always has. He thinks her love is limitless and unconditional. But what he doesn't understand is this: loyalty is not weakness. It's a choice. And once she chooses herself, he loses the access he never knew he was privileged to have. Once her energy shifts, it never returns to what it was. Not for him, not for anyone who reminds her of him. She becomes colder in the right places and stronger in the ones that mattered the most. She builds emotional boundaries that weren't there before. She starts loving with her mind as much as her heart. She stops making excuses for disrespect. She stops carrying relationships alone. She stops confusing potential with reality. The hurt doesn't turn her into a villain. It turns her into a woman who refuses to break again for the same reasons. It turns her into someone who values herself more deeply than she ever did before. She rises from the pain, not softer, but sharper. Not desperate, but disciplined. Not needy, but self-sufficient. And here's the part that stings the man later. He will never again experience the version of her that loved him so openly, so fully, so fearlessly. That version of her is gone, not out of hate, but out of growth. Hurting a loyal woman doesn't just change how she feels about you. It changes how she feels about love, about trust, about vulnerability. It changes the way she moves through the world. And once her energy evolves, once she steps into that stronger version of herself, she becomes impossible to play with, impossible to fool, impossible to replace. Because the pain didn't break her, it woke her up. The man eventually learns the hardest truth. A good woman's absence teaches more than her presence ever could. But that's a lesson he never sees coming when she's still around. When she's loving him, supporting him, forgiving him, praying over him, holding him down through storms he created himself. When she's showing up every day with loyalty, with intention, with a heart that believes in him, even when he doubts himself, he gets used to it. He gets comfortable. He stops noticing the value because the value is always there. A good woman's presence feels so natural, so consistent, so comforting that a man can start thinking that's just how life is supposed to feel. He doesn't realize she's the reason life is calm. She's the reason he sleeps easier. She's the reason his stress feels lighter, his direction feels clearer, his home feels like peace instead of chaos. She's the quiet strength behind his confidence. She's the warmth behind his good days. But when a woman like that is always there, a man can take it for granted without even meaning to. He forgets she has the choice to leave. He forgets that her love is powerful, but it ain't unlimited. And the moment she finally reaches her breaking point, not the emotional one, but the spiritual one, everything changes. A good woman doesn't walk out with noise. She doesn't slam doors. She doesn't start wars. She doesn't ruin your name. She just removes herself, quietly, completely, finally. And that silence hits a man harder than any argument ever could. Because when she's gone, the world feels different. The house feels empty even when it's full. The air feels heavier. The days feel longer. The nights feel colder. Things don't hit the same. Music feels different. The food don't taste the same. The peace he thought he created, turns out it was hers the whole time. And that absence teaches him more than her presence ever did. He starts realizing she wasn't nagging. She was guiding. She wasn't emotional. She was expressing. She wasn't asking for too much. She was asking for effort. She wasn't insecure. She was sensing the truth he thought she couldn't feel. Every little thing she did suddenly stands out in ways he never noticed when she was there. How she paid attention to details nobody else cared about. How she made sure he was good even when she wasn't. How she protected his reputation, his dreams, his peace. How she chose him every day, even on days he didn't choose himself. In her absence, he realized that she wasn't just loving him. She was teaching him how to communicate, teaching him patience, teaching him consistency, teaching him accountability. She was shaping him into a better man without ever trying to change him. And when she walks away, he feels the gap, not because he misses the attention, but because he misses the growth. He misses the version of himself he could only access when she was around. And the hardest part, he starts seeing her in places she no longer is. In other women's voices, in moments where he needs comfort, in situations where he needs advice, in times where he wishes someone understood him the way she did. But no one replaces a good woman. They just remind you of how rare she was. Her presence helped him grow, but her absence, it makes him face himself. It makes him confront his flaws. It makes him realize who he was when he had her and who he became without her. It forces him to deal with the selfishness, the immaturity, the pride, the inconsistency he hid behind while she held him up emotionally. A good woman's absence is a mirror, and not everybody is ready to see their reflection. And one day, long after she's healed, long after she's elevated, long after she's learned to live without him, he finally understands the truth. Her presence was a blessing, but her absence was the lesson, a lesson he'll carry long after she's no longer his to love, no longer his to hold, no longer his to apologize to. And that's the pain he can't run from, the realization that the best thing that ever happened to him was something he assumed would never leave.